China says it's going to defend its national interests after Donald Trump's latest comments on imposing tariffs on Chinese goods. The U.S. president said his administration is considering introducing import taxes of 10% as early as next week. He says the measure would be in response to China supplying Mexico and Canada with fentanyl, a synthetic opioid drug.
We have always believed there are no winners in a trade war or tariff war. China remains firmly committed to safeguarding national interests.
China has fired back at the Trump administration's latest wave of economic warfare, condemning the 10% tariffs as an act of economic terrorism designed to cripple the world's second-largest economy. This is not just another chapter in the long-standing trade dispute. This is a full-scale economic assault driven by a desperate administration grasping at straws to mask its own domestic failures. The U.S. government, under Trump's erratic leadership, has chosen to weaponize trade, using tariffs as blunt instruments to punish Beijing, while deceiving the American people into believing these reckless policies somehow serve their interests. Trump's trade war is a political charade, a smokescreen for his administration's deep-rooted economic incompetence. While the White House parades these tariffs as a necessary step to curb China's so-called unfair trade practices, the reality is far grimmer. The U.S. economy, once touted as a beacon of free market principles, is now being held hostage by a leader who thrives on division, chaos, and economic brinkmanship. The ripple effects of these policies are devastating American farmers. Businesses and consumers are bearing the brunt of Trump's destructive agenda. Yet his administration continues to peddle lies about winning the trade war. China is not backing down, and neither is the world. Washington's reckless policies have alienated allies, eroded trust in global trade, and signaled to the international community that the U.S. can no longer be relied upon as a stable economic partner. While Beijing maintains its measured response, make no mistake, the gloves are off. If Trump believes he can bully China into submission, he is sorely mistaken. The world is watching, and history will remember this moment as a turning point in global economic leadership. The stakes have never been higher, and the consequences of Trump's disastrous trade war will reverberate for decades. Will the U.S. wake up before it's too late? Or will it continue down this reckless path, dragging the global economy along with it? Stay with us till the end as we unpack the full ramifications of this economic catastrophe. Hello and welcome back to Innovative Check, YouTube channel, where we delve into the innovative and transformative projects changing our world. If you're new to the channel and enjoy learning about innovation stories around the world, you've come to the right place. Please subscribe, like, and comment to help boost our videos on YouTube. Challenge the legality of the tariffs. While China has used this tactic in the past, the significance of this latest challenge is more symbolic than substantive. The Trump administration has routinely dismissed WTO rulings that go against its trade policies, casting doubt on the effectiveness of any legal action China might take. However, Beijing's decision to take the dispute to the international stage signals an intent to rally broader support from its trading partners, many of whom have expressed concerns over the impact of U.S. tariffs on the global supply chain. Despite the heated rhetoric, China has adopted a noticeably restrained approach compared to previous phases of the trade war. The government's messaging has shifted from fiery condemnation to a more measured tone, suggesting an effort to prevent an outright economic confrontation. Analysts believe this change in approach is partially due to China's evolving economic priorities and an understanding that prolonged trade hostilities could disrupt its long-term plans for economic expansion and technological advancement. Yet Trump's justification for the latest tariffs has added another layer of controversy to the dispute. His administration has linked the tariffs to China's role in the fentanyl crisis, accusing Beijing of failing to curb the flow of precursor chemicals used to manufacture the deadly opioid. Chinese officials have dismissed these claims as baseless, asserting that they have taken significant measures to regulate and restrict the production and export of fentanyl-related substances. The foreign ministry went a step further, stating that the fentanyl crisis was a domestic issue for the U.S., and that China should not be scapegoated for America's failure to address its own addiction epidemic. Just a quick reminder to hit the like bib below. YouTube has been restricting my videos a lot recently because of bots, so your like does help out this video. massively in terms of the algorithm in YouTube. Despite its restrained tone, Beijing has not ruled out retaliatory action. There are several economic tools at China's disposal, ranging from counter-tariffs to restrictions on U.S. companies operating within its borders. Some sources suggest that China could impose targeted tariffs on key American exports, particularly those from politically sensitive states that supported Trump's trade policies. Beijing may also leverage its dominance in rare earth minerals, a critical component in many high-tech industries, to inflict economic pain on U.S. manufacturers. Furthermore, China's state-controlled media has taken an aggressive stance, warning that Trump's tariffs could backfire by exacerbating inflation in the U.S. and burdening American consumers with higher prices. Reports have highlighted the economic strain felt by U.S. farmers and manufacturers, many of whom have already suffered from previous rounds of tariffs. These narratives are aimed at shaping public opinion and increasing domestic pressure on the Trump administration to reconsider its trade policies. The international response to the dispute has been mixed. Some European officials have voiced concerns about the broader implications of Trump's trade tactics, fearing that the ripple effects could destabilize global markets. At the same time, some policymakers in the EU have privately expressed frustration with China's trade practices, including allegations of state subsidies and intellectual property theft. This complex dynamic makes it difficult for China to rally unequivocal support from its traditional trading partners. Adding another layer of complexity to the situation is the role of major multinational corporations caught in the crossfire. Companies like Apple, Tesla, and General Motors have significant operations in China and are highly vulnerable to any retaliatory measures imposed by Beijing. In response to the uncertainty, some firms have started exploring alternative manufacturing locations, such as Vietnam and India, in an effort to reduce their exposure to U.S.-China trade tensions. However, relocating supply chains is a costly and time-consuming process, and many companies remain reluctant to make drastic shifts unless the trade war escalates further. Meanwhile, financial markets have reacted with caution to the latest developments. The Dow Jones Industrial Average saw a sharp decline following Trump's tariff announcement, reflecting investor concerns about the potential impact on global growth. Chinese markets also experienced volatility, with the Shanghai Composite Index registering a downturn as investors weighed the possibility of economic retaliation from Beijing. Currency markets have also been affected, with the Chinese yuan experiencing fluctuations as traders speculate on Beijing's next move. If you are enjoying this video so far, please don't forget to subscribe, share the video, and comment. Despite the mounting tension, some observers believe there is still room for negotiation. Both Washington and Beijing have left the door open for further talks, and back-channel discussions between trade representatives are reportedly ongoing. However, trust between the two sides remains low, and previous negotiations have often collapsed due to last-minute disagreements. With the 2020 U.S. presidential election looming, political considerations could also play a role in shaping Trump's approach to the trade dispute. Some analysts speculate that the tariffs are part of a broader strategy to rally his base and project strength on the international stage ahead of the election. China's leadership, meanwhile, is carefully calibrating its response. President Xi Jinping has emphasized the importance of maintaining economic stability and avoiding actions that could trigger a full-scale economic crisis. Beijing is acutely aware of the risks posed by prolonged trade hostilities, particularly as it navigates a slowing economy and a challenging geopolitical landscape. The government's focus on long-term economic resilience suggests that, while China is willing to push back against Trump's policies, it is also prioritizing strategic patience over immediate confrontation. Beyond the economic implications, the trade dispute has broader geopolitical ramifications. The U.S.-China relationship is already strained by tensions over issues such as Taiwan, the South China Sea, and human rights concerns. The latest round of tariffs adds another point of friction to an already complex bilateral relationship. Some policymakers in Beijing worry that the trade war is part of a broader U.S. effort to contain China's rise as a global economic and technological powerhouse. One of the most contentious aspects of the trade war is the battle over technology. The Trump administration has targeted Chinese tech giants such as Huawei and ZTE, citing national security concerns. In response, China has accelerated its efforts to achieve technological self-sufficiency, investing heavily in domestic semiconductor production and advanced manufacturing capabilities. The involvement of companies like TSMC and ASML in the global semiconductor supply chain has further complicated the situation, as Washington seeks to restrict China's access to cutting-edge technology. Despite these challenges, China remains determined to press ahead with its economic ambitions. The government has continued to roll out policies aimed at boosting domestic consumption and reducing reliance on exports. Investments in sectors such as renewable energy, artificial intelligence, and high-speed rail are seen as key to ensuring long-term economic resilience. At the same time, Beijing is working to strengthen ties with other trading partners, including those in Africa, Latin America, and Southeast Asia, in an effort to diversify its economic relationships. As the trade dispute unfolds, both Washington and Beijing face difficult choices. For Trump, the challenge lies in balancing economic nationalism with the reality of global economic interdependence. For China, the key question is how to assert its economic interests without triggering a full-blown confrontation with the U.S. The stakes are high, and the outcome of this conflict could have lasting implications for the global economy. While both sides continue to posture, the fundamental reality remains that neither can afford a prolonged trade war without significant economic consequences. The world is watching closely as the two largest economies navigate this high-stakes standoff, hoping that reason prevails over escalation. Thank you for your attention, and I welcome your thoughts and questions on this complex and vital subject. Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, please like and share the video, and subscribe to get exclusive videos about how phenomenally China is developing and growing its influence. Your subscriptions and likes motivate us to generate more content, so please keep supporting us. Check out this video showing on your screen right now, and I will see you